We will be working problem 1.10 on page 17. If you have not already, read pages 13 through 14 that deals with how to make a stem plot, and also review your classroom notes over SOCs, shape, outlier, center, and spread. Okay, problem 1.10 asks us to display these data graphically and write a paragraph describing the distribution of DRP scores. The distribution is the numbers that appear in our data and how frequently they appear. We'll think of a distribution most often in terms of some kind of picture. In this case, the picture we're going to construct is a stem and leaf plot. So I note that the numbers range from 14 through 52, so I'm going to make stems using 10 as my unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'll have a line that separates, and I will place my units on this side, which will be my leaves on this side, which will be the units places. All right, in the tens we have 14, 14, 15, 18, 19, and 19. In the 20s, we have 22, 2 25s, 2 26s, 2 27s, 28, and 29. In the 30s, we have 31, 2 33s. Note how I'm lining up the leaves. This will help us determine features later on. 34, another 34, 4 35s, a 38, and a 39. In the 40s, we have 2 40s, 2 41s, 42, 43, 44, 45, 2 46s, 2 47s, a 48, and a 49. In the 50s, we have 51, 52, 52, and 54. Lastly, when we construct our stem and leaf plot, we need a key that will tell the reader how to interpret this data. There will always be one or more digits to the left, but strictly one digit to the right. That way we know that each one of these digits represents one piece of data. We can quickly see how many elements of data we have here. So I want to let the reader know that 1-4 represents 14. I will write over here 1-4 means a score of 14. On the DRP. All right. I'm now going to take this same data and put it in our TI-84 graphing calculator and take a look at the histogram. At this time, pause the video and enter in the data. Now that I've entered in the data, I'm going to go to the window screen and change the window thusly. My minimum X value is 10, my maximum is 60, my X scale is 10, Y minimum -1, Y max 15, Y scale and X res you can always leave at the default. Now, typically, when we use the calculator to construct a histogram, we will simply go with the default zoom 9, and that's perfectly okay. I've constructed the window in this fashion so that it looks similar to my stem and leaf plot. 10 is less than my minimum data, and 60 is greater than my maximum. Counting by tens because each one of my stems is counting a unit of 10. Y minimum -1, that simply gets underneath the lowest number so we can see a nice y-axis. Y max 15. If we note in our 40 category, we have less than 15 observations, so this amount will capture our data. When I look at this graph, I hope that it's going to appear at least a little bit like the stem and leaf plot that we've just constructed. So now, once I've selected my proper selections, I have my plot 1 on. After hitting second y equals, I've turned plot 1 on, and I have selected the third selection, that is the histogram. So now I'll go graph. And you can see that if I take the histogram and tilt it over on the side, it does indeed greatly resemble our data here. So now I might be able to describe our shape, outlier, and center and spread in context. All right, so now we're going to talk about the shape, outliers, center, and spread of our data. Up here, I'm going to quickly fill in each one of those, and then down here, I'm going to turn it into a short paragraph. Shape. Well, we have two shapes that we talk about primarily, symmetric and skewed. Unfortunately, this data doesn't take on either one clearly. You might say that it's slightly left skewed, or you might say that it's roughly symmetric. And I know at this point of your learning that's a little unsatisfactory, but that's the way things are often. When you look outside, you might say it's partly cloudy, you might say it's partly sunny. So in this problem here where there's not a clear shape, you might indicate either one. I'm going to go with slightly left skewed. Looking at our calculator, you might be able to see that a little more clearly. If we were to draw a smooth curve over the top of this, you would see that the tail would be longer to the left side. Outliers, there are no apparent outliers here. The center, well, we could use mean, median, or mode. In this case, mode is a really easy one to see. We can see that there are 4 35s. So I might say that the center is 35 as measured by the mode. I'm going to find the median. The median is the middle observation. We have 44 observations here. Since there's an even number, it's going to be between two numbers. It's going to be between the 22nd and 23rd one. So we can now show how easy it is to use the stem plot to find that. I'm simply going to count to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So it's conveniently between the 35 and the 35, which is 35. So in this case, both the mode and the median is 35. Median 35. The spread, well, it's very easy to see the range as a measure of spread here. Our maximum observation is 54. Our minimum observation is 14. So the range, maximum minus minimum, is 54 minus 14, or 40. Now, if you were working this problem on the AP exam, this would absolutely satisfy writing a paragraph or writing a description. It's not really a paragraph, but you're going to get all of the elements checked off here, and this might earn you full credit. But the problem here said write a paragraph, so let us write a brief paragraph. The DRP data, we always will use words in context, are slightly left skewed with no obvious outliers. The median is 35 and the range is 40. All right, that concludes problem 1.10 on page 17.